Hello people, this is Ryder here with the review of the Armor Hero Armored Blind Box or Armor Action Series 3. Yeah, so the problem is that I don't actually know the title or the name of this series because it's not. I'm sorry for saying this, but it's not what Long's Toys is credited as. It's just not. I've seen it credited as just Armor Series and such. Just the Armor Hero Armor Series, like, figure line and such. So it's like, I don't know what the exact, like, figure line this is called. I would prefer to just stick with Armor Action and such. So, again, I will try to do my best at, like, looking in depth of, like, what this figure line's actually called. But I digress. This is the third wave of this figure line, as previously the first two waves comprised of the characters from Armor Hero and then Armor Hero XT. Obviously, these are Zrakens, so if you want a preview, this is the wave of the first lineup, which comprised of Emperor Hero, Dragon Man, Eagle Man, Rhino Man, Tiger Man, and Massive Man. While I think weirdly, XT got split into two waves. But we have Mars, Arrow, Giant, Ares. I don't remember the upgrade names for these three. And then Dark Titan Mars. Yeah, that means he's Titan Mars. I think he's Tetra Giant. Did I say Giant? Not Pyro Warrior, that's the dub. But anyways, we're not here for that. This wave comprises of the characters of Armor Hero Lava, which is why I'm covering this in depth. To which, obviously, as we can see from the top, this is the top of the box, which this is really nice and such, even if it's not really close to what Lava is about. But anyways, obviously the armors comprising of the characters comprising of this set comprise of Armor Hero Lava, Tsunami, Tornado, Cliff, and Techno, and then Atlas and such. To which, getting to this right away. Again, this is technically the front of the box. I'm surprised they're using just the generic Armor Hero logo that was used for the Retsudan series, The Legend of Armor Hero. Again, I think this is technically supposed to be the main name of, like, Armor Blind Box Series 3. But, I don't know. We have each symbol, or each icon for the three, for each of the armors for Lava. The side here, the right side just has, again, All-3 credit and an Armor Hero credit. It's very generic. Sorry about that. But I really do like this yellow. Yeah, so it's the same here. The bottom obviously will not have anything because it's the bottom of the box. But the back, however, actually comprises of the full lineup. So this is our full lineup for this set. So again, we've already mentioned the 6 Armor Heroes. However, for some reason, I think out of popularity or popular demand, we have 2 villains from Armor Hero XT. This one here is Lucius. I think that's his English dub name though, so I apologize. He's the main antagonist for Armor Hero XT, and then I don't remember his name, but he's, I think, the leader of another subsection of villains, of a trio of villains and such. I've only seen the first 3 episodes of XT. I'm at the point where Giant is gonna debut. And basically this text here is basically saying you will get, there's in full there's 8 figures, but there's 2 chase figures essentially, to which, to go back here, this down here says that there's 8, you're gonna get 8, you're gonna get the entire wave, which is 8 figures. However, there's 2 variants. Those variants being of Armor Hero Atlas and Armor Hero Techno. As their variants, as you can see from here, are the fact they're fully painted and such. This is the first of that they're doing this, because as I've covered before, these ones did not come with any like rare variants or such. It was just straight up like, hey, here are the 6 armors from this show, and then this one is, hey, here's the 7 initial armors from the show, but we will also include a bonus character that was supposed to be in the scrapped movie of XT and such. So yeah, it's interesting that it's this one that they're going all out with this and such. And maybe later I'll do a jump cut, or maybe I'll just talk over it. I don't know, but obviously I'm gonna stream this later alongside the Captor Summoning Belt and such. So I would be talking about the process of like opening this, but maybe it'll be like a quick. Actually, I don't know, because like I actually genuinely do want to open this now, but like I want to do it on stream. So here we have the box design for the individual figures and such. So unlike the last 2 waves where they actually just directly tell you who you got, obviously with this one being completely blind, we only have Atlas at the front. So we have the Armor Hero Lava logo and the Karox logo, all the stylized Armor Hero text in a nice like hollow foil. Again, it's basically the same stuff that we've previously seen in that large box. We have the 15th anniversary logo, which incorporates stuff from Dragon Man. The Lava logo. Again, the side here has the lineup. So again, everything is 1 out of 8 chance, while the rare variants of Techno and Atlas, Techno is 1 out of 48, Atlas is 1 out of 96. And we have the warnings and cautions, and this is at least still consistent with the others and such, but now again it's just only Atlas. And then the process of opening it, you cut the tape, you slide it out, and you get a bag with the card, tells you the production date, and then you get, all of these include the same instructions, as they tell you everything about each one. So yeah, that is basically the rundown with, if this actually wants to go in, the individual boxes. Alright, so obviously we will take a look at the titular character himself, Armor Hero Lava himself, to which we'll cover everything that each one of these will include. So let's just move the accessories out of the way. And just to tell you about assembly wise, out of the box you have to apply the, if it wants to focus, the Lava Summoner to his waist. You have to apply the chest armor and the head. Unlike the prior 2 series, prior 2 waves, you actually had to make the figure out by like bit by bit. However, with this one, they're mostly assembled and such, which is neat. So, taking a look at Lava, his paint, his orange is really sleek. I really do like how they did the orange and such. And taking a look at the helmet especially, I really do like how they did the compound eyes. It doesn't want to focus, which is weird. The compound eyes for Lava are really nice, especially with the symbol up there. Other than that, again, the silver, like the paint on this thing is really sharp and such. And again, obviously because his main element is fire, he has a lot of fire designs around him and such. And then again, taking a look at the summoner once again. Wants to focus. I'm just going extensive detail with Lava, obviously, so then we don't have to do it with the others. The Lava Summoner, obviously, is pretty basic, but I mean, it gets what it needs out there. And the legs, unlike, for the majority of them, they don't actually have leg armor and such, so, yeah. And then, yeah, I'm pretty sure here too is kind of obviously armor for the shins, which, again, I did not need to apply because they were already pre-applied. So, it's so interesting that they've done that. And as you can see from here, the last thing they've did, which is, we will show later, he's cast in semi-transparent plastic. As you can see, all the swirls around him and such. So, which is pretty interesting. I guess it's just to reflect on how the suit looks with its like swirliness and such. But anyways, to get to articulation, obviously the head is on a full ball joint. As again, as I said before, this is a ball joint. You just simply stick the head on like that. And then the arm is on a butterfly joint, as you can see from here. So you can just simply rotate it like such. And the shoulder pad does move alongside too. The bend is pretty, it's only a single bend. And the wrist moves, obviously. Again, just because of the prior to series, again, I think I pulled this out already. The wrists would technically, you would had to apply those, but you didn't have to for this wave. You can kick forward, you can kick back, you can bend forward. There is one swivel that you technically should be able to do, but we can't. Feet are ball joint, and they move in like so. And then the waist swivel, we have an ab crunch essentially. You can move just like that and such. Now, that is my first time actually doing the articulation for this thing, because if you don't recall, as I mentioned before, this thing is entirely translucent plastic for the most part. So because of that, this figure is super brittle. Where is it? As you can see from here, can you please focus? As you can see from there, his leg just broke off, because this is the one that broke off right out of the box. So, because of how brittle these figures are, the legs cannot actually like stay together and such. Like the fact they're actually like still clicked on is actually pretty impressive. But yeah, mine lava already, my figure for lava already came broken. So you're supposed to be able to turn this, but I'm not gonna risk that because these are gonna snap. And again, this one just broke off. So that's super unfortunate and such. So luckily, again, he's still like this still barely stays on, but it's just like now his legs are super loose because of because of how brittle the plastic is for these ones. I don't think he can stand anymore, so let's just move on to the next accessory, which is universal for everyone, the stand. The stand comes in 3 pieces, or 4 pieces. 5 pieces. And there's the battery exhaust. This part is kind of tricky, but you just simply peg this hole into back here to essentially make an entire rack and such, to which we have 3 pegs right here. This one can move and essentially is kind of for the figure. Then we have 2 foot hole pegs for the feet, to which obviously because of this being transparent plastic, he's actually, or these figures actually kind of struggle. It depends, I don't know, it just depends on each figure. But they struggle on trying to peg here, but it seems like it's kind of better. But as you can see from here, this is kind of your best bet of like just trying to save your figure. If you're having the problems of them, of their brittleness succumbing them. But I mean, if you you can also use these back pegs to do some aerodynamic poses, but again, I'm not going to because they're, I mean, I guess if you want extra securance to make sure, or to kind of ignore the fact that your legs for your figures are breaking, then like, yeah, you can do that, but other than that, I think that should technically do. You might be wondering what these other holes are for, to which we will get into as we cover his other accessories and such. To which, for the first part, we will be covering everything that is universal to these figures, to which are the 4 additional hands. The 4 additional, or the 2 additional pairs of hands. So we have angled down hands, because by default they come with holding hands. But these ones are angled down, while these 2 are splayed open. I think for the most part, the core 4 armors, I think, are the same mold. If that actually wants to focus. But, yeah. So, again, yeah, actually we'll do this now. So to swap hands, Lava kind of struggles because they're really tight on him. So just twist it and pull. We are going to equip the right angled hand, like so. And then for his left hand, like sometimes, again, he's falling apart. So sometimes you might need to pull the wrist out. Because I can tell this is not fully in there. You have to like let it click. But yeah, so there we have that. Last but not least, which is the unique accessory for each of them is their signature weapon. So in the case of Lava, we have his sword, which I apologize, I'm going to go by their translated English names. So his sword is called the Flame Molten Lin Sword. I almost read the name for the spirit. To which it's just cast in orange plastic, really solid and such. And as you can see from here, we have a hole back there, to which if you don't want to have them equipped with their weapon, you can turn this around and simply simply peg the weapon like so. And if I actually had both hands, or both splayed open hands, we can technically try to replicate his transformation, which is I have in the wrong hand, obviously. But for the sake of this, we're gonna equip him with his sword. Again, you want to have it up here because down here is where the energy keys get slotted in. And yeah, there we have Lava with him completely equipped and such. Obviously, sadly, unlike the latter two waves, this is all you get. You don't. This was originally displayed when these were revealed, but because typically, they actually have more of an arsenal. But I mean, in the case of Lava, it's just more that their weapons have two modes. So their secondary modes for the weapons are combinations with their elemental spirits and such. So in the case of Lava, he has what is called a Quilin? Quilin. I looked it up. It's a Chinese unicorn. And basically, when the spirit combines with the weapon, that transforms it into the second mode, which is the axe, as you can clearly see from here. The blade collapses down, and the Quilin attaches itself to the center here, and then becomes a giant axe and a top. Those were shown off in the exhibit for Starry, but it's kind of unfortunate that none of these are going to come with their second modes and such. So that's unfortunate. But other than that, like, this is pretty solid. One last note to bring up is that if you were to lift this up, besides the fact you have the Alpha trademark logo right there, this is actually where you can store all your other hands, or store your hands, and sometimes your Axis plastic from your other figures and such. So hopefully with that, covering the basics for Lava, we can actually, we can actually speed through the next 5 figures. So here we have the secondary, or here we have the second armor to show up within the series, Armor Hero Tsunami. So again, there's the stand with the hands already in. Then his weapon, the Whirlpool Sword, which again is just cast in solid blue plastic. And I think it's a really cool sword because it's a rapier and such. And again, this is a weird place for it. You can, I think this is where you would technically just use this. But yeah, you can peg that like so, just store it. Again, we do not have the second form of this, which is when his elemental spirit, the octopus, or the tsunami octopus, whatever it will be called. Um, Whirlpool octopus. It combines at the tip and becomes a spear. And obviously this is where he would load in the energy key. Anyways, let's look at Tsunami himself. While he's not my favorite of the four, his figure is one of the few that are solid. As you can see from here, probably because he doesn't use any transparent plastic, he is one of the most solid figures of the wave. So yeah, here he is right here. I think my thing with him is that I don't really see a lot of water. Like, I don't really see a lot of like water attributes to him besides like the waves, the attempt at waves on the side and such. Like, his helmet doesn't really invoke a lot of water. Like, there's a wave right here. Right, obviously, again, tsunami. So you would expect a lot of like splashes and such. I forgot to point this out too. Obviously, here he has the Tetra Summoner. Or is it referred to as the Tsunami Summoner? I think universally it's the Tetra Summoner because of what the next armor that uses this. And, you know, they actually do go through the effort of remolding them to be their specific key and such. But, like, you know, again, it's primarily blue. I forgot to point this out too. You can actually remove the summoners for these. I will show off that with the next one for lava, because I don't want to touch him again. Other than that, like, you know, his suit for the most part is just, you know, for being blue, he's mainly black and silver and such, and then like just red. I really do like how the eyes are like really contrasting with like everything else. And again, like the if it actually wants to focus, the compound eyes on these figures are really sleek and such. They really did a nice job at that. Um, Again, I'm not going to cover articulation just because it's all the same. I probably should have done it with him because he's the only one that we can actually do the articulation with. Because, like, again, this, I don't have any issue. I don't have any fear of doing. Because nothing is cracking. Like, yeah, this leg is definitely a bit loose, but it's not, like, nothing's brittle about this figure and such. But I should speak on what needs to be applied. So, for these, I think it was for him, for the Tetra Summoner, or I think for half of these guys, their armor pieces, like, you have to apply on top of a base. This is not how I wanted to do it, but so obviously you just have the additional step of, well, you applied this RA on, but you have to apply like the blue pieces, essentially the shoulder pieces over, and then you will have to do it to the back here, but then peg it at the back. So just that additional step. And also the thighs too. The thighs have additional armor, and they're not really the most fun at applying. Because, at least Tsunami again, because he's a solid figure, his actually go in. So I appreciate that. So we'll put in the Whirlpool sword. We'll equip him with the Whirlpool sword. We will change out his hand for a split open hand, because again, all the hands are the same. Oh, whoops. Trying to twist this in. Sometimes you're just not going to get that click. But, you know, I forgot how he was posed. So, again, just simply peg these into the foot. And while, now you can recreate. Now you could recreate the rivalry between these two if you wanted to. His leg is messed up, I'll fix it later. Next up we have Armor Hero Tornado, the second armor to come out of the lava summoner and such. So again, the stand, we have his gun, which I think is upside down. This was called the... that was not it. This is called the Storm Shadow Dart. Yeah. This is a really interesting weapon. This is one for sure I prefer the second mode called the Wild Kite Fierce Bow, because it actually opens up and becomes a really expansive bow. But I mean, it's a really interesting, like, bladed weapon. Again, you just peg it like that. And obviously because of his, just because of how the nature of his armor, he does come with an additional, he comes with 2 scarf pieces and such. I think this was the default one? I don't remember, but I just keep it at this one and such. But, you know, to your liking, you can pose it. However, this is essentially for, like, dynamic posing, for, like, when you want to just have him, like, standing there and looking cool. To which, at this point, I'll just give him his other hand. Luckily, for him, it's easy to actually put the hands on, so I appreciate that. I did forget to bring something up, but I'll bring it up later. So you can do that, but again, for the sake of this, I'll just keep it at the default. I'll keep it at the default scarf and such, which is again why I just simply pick it in like so. Yeah, so Tornado, as cool as he is, he has the same issue as Lava, as because he is actually somewhat, like, again, he's kind of mostly made of transparent green plastic. His leg does not like stain, and because of that, again, it's not as bad as Lava, but his hand, or his joint, is crackling. So, yeah, that's not fun. But again, the leg portion is the exact same as, so obviously because it uses the same summoner as Lava, for the most part, they're really similar. Again, you can pull out the summoner like so, but it is actually, again, remolded to actually hold the Tornado energy key. I think the scarf just fell. Again, just like Tsunami, this entire big chest piece, I think, is an entire, like, separate piece. Again, these are 2 different pieces, but I'm just being lazy and not doing that. Again, they actually do snap in pretty finely and such, and we should talk about his helmet, because his helmet is really nicely done and such. sorry, you're gonna have to look at it like this, but you know, again, the compound eyes are like really well done and such, and like the green paint or the red paint is like really done nicely and such. And again, looking at the gunmetal gray, like this is actually painted well too, and such. Again, with this, obviously, again, I'm not gonna pose it. I mean, technically, the closest thing you can do of replicating duo mode is just simply switching out the summoners, if that's possible. Yeah, so you can switch out the summoners and like just pretend like, oh, Domon is going from the lava armor to the tornado armor, because that is a thing that happens within the show. Because it's a spoiler of the whereabouts of this guy. But anyways, you can, like, other than that, like he's pretty cool. It's just, unfortunately, again, he has the same issue as Lava, where first of all, he just barely wants to actually like stand. Like his scarf barely wants to stay on, but he has the issue where his foot just, or his leg just is so brittle. So you can't really like pose him very sleekly. And also for me, he has an issue of just not pegging onto here, but again, I think it's just because my figures have stayed on here for a while, so like they've actually kind of grown into it. But yeah, this is just kind of just not really that fun of like working with and such. But other than that, like, yeah, this is actually, you know, if you can actually tolerate working with the loose or the brittle legs, yeah, you can pose him really like fondly and such. So here we have with my favorite of the four armors, the Cliff armor, to which, again, we have his primary weapon, the Absolute Blade, and such, which it's kind of, I mean, it's kind of funny when you look at it, because this is basically where he's, like, slashes, but it's because they're supposed to combine together to become a shield, and then with the Explosive Scorpion, they combine, it combines here to connect them, and I think it becomes a drill. I think that's what it says. Explosive Scorpion Shield. It's a blade mode, but yeah. So unfortunately, you can't combine them, but you can plug them in. You can plug them onto the stand, which again I appreciate. I don't know why this is not working. Yeah, I don't know why this is not. I don't know why this is not pegging in. That's, yeah. Okay, so that one pegs in, but you can't. This one is. Okay, I was just not pushing hard enough, but this is the closest you can do. Again, yeah. So, again, like just looking at this without like doing anything, he like I really do like this one. I really do like this suit, because I think the thing I really like out of this one is that it's such a huge contrast to the Tsunami armor suit, because I think the Tsunami armor, like for these ones, they definitely did like an inverse of where their primary colors are the armor pieces, as opposed to the duo of Lava and Tornado, where their primary colors are the suits, and then their like accent colors are on the armors. I just think that the silver and purple combination looks really sleek and such. And then again, the helmet. The helmet is really cool. I really like the rock pieces all over him and such. Like, he's just really cool overall and such. Unfortunately, he has the brittle plastic issue. So his leg is pretty loose, but it's not, he's definitely not as bad as Tornado now, because he's not falling apart. So again, the transparent silver, you can see here, the silver here is somewhat transparent and such. So I don't want to risk moving this and such. But other than that, again, I think his armor pieces are basic. His fall apart. You just simply clip these here, clip them like this. So again, taking a look at the Tetra Summoner. Again, you can pretend that he's going to do dual mode, because it didn't take him until the movie to do that. On the other hand, he got to do it in the show very late. And then in the movie, because they recast him, they just decided to give him a Lava Summoner. Because obviously we'll look at it later. But other than that though, like, he's pretty sleek and such. Putting the weapons on him though, it's not as difficult. It was definitely difficult earlier, but his weapons are definitely unique. Just obviously you just can't combine them. Like, this is the closest you combine them, but like, you know, it doesn't look as cool and such. But like, other than that, like, you know, just something like that, you know. I need to pose someone like this. Other than that, like, this is, I really do like it overall. My biggest other issue with him is that he did not come with the right back buckle piece. Mine came with another front piece. So, which is, I think that's why I took this off. So yeah, you can tell that's not the right piece. So I'm putting this upside down, I think. No, okay, I had it right actually. Oops. But because again, if we take a look at Tsunami, I'm supposed to be able to peg the back, or to have a peg hole, but I can't now. So, I mean, if I wanted to put him in the air, I can't do that. But, because I feel like he would probably be one I would have done that to, but I can't now. But, other than that, there we go with Cliff. And actually get him in frame. I don't think we've seen these two. I mean, again, I've only, like, I want to actually see the show, but the whole show is not out dubbed. But I don't think these two have fought a lot together. So, yeah. So, for our second to last armor within Lava, we have the Techno Armor. Basically, this was a mass-produced armor, not mass-produced literally, but like, this was an armor made by the police station within the series and such. And again, I assume his hands, not assume, I know, but his hands are obviously all the same from the others and such, so I'm just going to give him an open hand, and then struggle pulling that out and such. Like, obviously, comparing Techno to the other four, yeah, he's clearly different because he's not mythical based, which I think is pretty cool. Excuse me. So as we can see from him and such, he's got a lot of orange to him, and again, he's pretty sleek overall. He's got this laser sight thing on the side. He's got this like really asymmetrical armor, I think you will refer to as. His shoulder pads come off easily though. I did not even realize these turned around. But again, if you just pull out the butterfly joint, you wouldn't have that issue. The the chest armor itself. Oh, I think yeah, the chest armor here was actually pretty interesting because you had to apply, and that part falls. You had to actually apply this center piece first, and then this, which was really cool. His wrist though was just pretty loose. Here's the Techno Summoner. Unfortunately, again, I kind of would have liked that the orange was present, but again, most of the summoners are just one paint and such. So again, you can technically take it off for him to equip to slide, or just again just do it like that. But you can also remove it like that too, because again, they all have the same buckle. So, his legs are pretty neat. I got a bit of paint splotch, but it's not much. This is also another piece you have to attach, but that's just due to this technically being a weapon, or it not a weapon, but it's in combination with the weapon. Again, and yeah, like again, like it's just really cool with how, despite how different he is entirely in terms of concept and look, he really fits well with the other armors within this wave, or within this series. And then here we have his primary weapon, the Techno Gun. Okay. He does have a whole arsenal of weapons, but of course they didn't bother releasing them for this. If you wanted, because again, this gun basically like RoboCop. This gun combines with this piece here, which I think is called the Techno Holster. They combine together to become the Techno Fierce Sniper Cannon. And if you wanted the sniper rifle, if you wanted the cannon, then you have to have hoped you pulled the fully painted version of this figure. To which, honestly, though, like even with that, like even with this normal version, I think it looks nice. I really like the blue. Or the blue they've used is pretty neat, but again, unfortunately, because it's transparent, it's brittle. So it's just unfortunately brittle. But and again, this just falls off a lot more easier than the other, like the lava and tetra. But now this thing is just completely, yeah, I think it might actually break it now. But but yeah, Techno is really nice overall. like if you're, I guess if you super really want to get the fully painted version in the rifle, I guess you can try to hopefully go for that one. But honestly, this one's just fine. Last but not least, we have Armor Hero Atlas, a combination of all 4 elements and such. To which, again, he comes with the basic stuff. His weapon has a hole to get pegged, and all his hands remain the same. I said that I was going to show this off. I forgot to. Here we have his primary weapon, the World Thunder Sword, which is literally his helmet as the sword, To which then, if you were to have pulled the fully painted version of this one, you would have gotten the Thunder, or the Lightning Thunder Sword, which is the helmet slot slit up, which then reveals the energy key slots and such. So, ironically, with Atlas being the gold one, he's also a really solid figure. He's not brittle whatsoever, which is, again, just super ironic and such. However, though, my only gripe with Atlas is just that I just think he could have been painted better. Because I think they made it super obvious that they skimped out on paint for this one, unfortunately. Like, his helmet is pretty, it's done really nicely. They didn't skip out on the helmet. It's just the other attributes they skimped out on, as both of his shoulder pads, I think, are supposed to have, so he's missing paint representation for Tsunami and Tornado, because obviously he has the red here for Lava, and he has the purple down here for Cliff. But Tsunami and Tornado are the arms, but they're not present. Which is obviously where they obviously want you to have the fully painted version to have like a full glory Armor Hero Atlas, which I think is just unfortunate and such. But speaking of him, here's the Atlas Summoner, which again, this looks really nice, and this obviously has to get pointed out. Whoops, I did not pull that out correctly. But obviously the Atlas Summoner here actually does have the correct colored energy keys, because he does not use the golden energy keys and such, because that was only a toy thing. Well, technically it was only a toy thing until the movie canonized them. But yeah, other than that, like, again, I want to be careful, obviously, but like, moving Atlas, he doesn't feel brittle, which is amazing. And such. His arm here is loose, though, for some reason, but that's concerning, but I don't see any cracks. I think it's just because of how I post him. Which I will do. Yeah, his arms are loose and such, but other than that, again, we can combine, we can use the sword, and I'll just try to horribly do a pose for him holding this sword with both of his hands, and then peg. Yeah, I think Atlas was definitely one I struggled pegging this on him too, but like, yeah, you can do that. And then for the fun of it, let's show Atlas off with the other prior ultimate armors to this point. So obviously we have from Zyken both Armor Hero, Emperor Hero. This is, in this case, this is ultimate Emperor Hero. But if we were to take this off, it's just Emperor Hero. And then we have, all right, we have, oh my gosh, come on, Paul. Kind of name do you give a kid, Paul? Then we have Armor Hero Ares from XT, or Shura, I think is his name. But again, essentially, we have up to this point the 3 ultimate armors for each respective series. And one of the things I kept forgetting to bring up was that you can actually combine the bases together by these tabs and such. So, as you can see here, there are empty spots like so, and then a tab on the top and the right. So, with that, you can either slot them in like this. Obviously, they only slot in by friction. They slot in like that, or like that. So yeah, this is basically how you can combine them. I think it's just literally by friction. Alright, there's no click at all. I think it's literally just for like display sake of just like if you just want them to stand together and such. But other than that, let's get them all together. So before we actually conclude this, because I forgot to show them for each one, but before we get to that, obviously I have to state this. This is not it for the wave. It also included the two villains from Armor Hero XT. This character here, or this villain here, is Lucius, the main antagonist for the series. I won't get more into him because that's a spoiler. And then this is actually one of the 3 main like rival enemies that the trio have. I don't know his name off the top of my head. All I can really say is that the actor that plays him was actually in the first Armor Hero series as Dark Dragon Man and such during that entire arc and such. So it's really interesting that he got brought back in XT, because XT is a sequel to the original series. But ironically, bringing him back, he was a new character as opposed to reprising his role. But the thing I forgot to bring up is that with this wave, they actually all came with cards and such. So each figure came with their designated card and such. So we will just show off Lava in full and such. The backs are all the same. They have a really nice hollow foil to them and such. So again, here is Lava, Tsunami. This is where their names are at, if you didn't know. Tsunami, and they have the logo. They have each armor's representative logo there and such. Tornado. It takes a while for it to focus. Cliff. Techno. And Atlas. Obviously, Techno and Atlas's variants do come with different cards. It's cards of them with that weapon. Even though I think for this card, he does have the cannon. But I know for Atlas's card, he actually is wielding the sword. I forgot to state too, like obviously the cards, if I were to compare them, they're actually larger than a Shine card, or Lika. They are larger and thicker, so they're more durable as opposed to these cards. But again, here is Lucius. He does not, like, the villains don't have their names translated, unfortunately. But also, I forgot to say, they do actually have a numbering system. But here is this guy. Like, again, his design is actually pretty neat. But so I'll just run them down like corner to corner. So Lava is AH241531, and then they just followed up by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No. 6. 29 and 30. Okay. That's interesting. So I don't, because Lava or XT did not do cards. The XT in the original series did not do cards. So I think that, so interestingly enough, they are going off of that counting. So again, these ones are Zrikens because he actually has the XT crew besides their power-ups. But yeah, like overall, my thoughts on this set, I do think like these figures do look really nice and such. Especially if you have been collecting the last two waves prior and such. Like it's really like I really do like the lava suits, so I was really happy that they like immediately jumped onto these ones and such. It is kind of annoying they like changed up the release of how they did these because now they're like fully blind as opposed to being knowing what you're getting and such. But I mean, it doesn't really change anything. Possibly the only thing changing is just possibly the cutting down on accessories and such, because if these two did not have full-on paint variants, we probably would have at least gotten their weapons and such. As for these four, it does suck that we don't have their alternate modes and such, especially for Cliff and such. Like, because I think for the most of these, I do like their weapons alternate forms more. I think Lava is the only exception. But other than that, again, I've already like said before, the only thing you should be really wary about is the brittleness of these figures and such. Because again, I think for the most part, out of these six, because obviously I should state that you should not worry about these two falling apart on you. Zrykin told me like these two are like really solid, but again, out of these, Tsunami is the only one you don't have to worry about. It's the rest of them that you have to be super cautious about. Unless you're, again, like me, and get super lucky with Atlas not falling apart on you. But, and also, obviously, be wary about QC issues. Again, with my Cliff and such. And if you manage to pull the rare variants for these two, congrats. Other than that, though, these figures are, I mean, at the time I did get them, they were inexpensive, but now we have to factor in tariffs. Unfortunately, these are not going to be, well, getting them to you is not going to be cheap. But, luckily, again, the entire box was like $30 for the whole set of 8, which is not bad at all. Again, it's just unfortunate that I have so much QC issues of mine in terms of like the brittleness of the plastic, missing pieces / wrong pieces and such. Like overall, like I should say, like I got this off of Super Buy. I think Taobao via Super Buy. I think I technically did get a Taobao listing. Again, I would say like go ahead and get this, but again, just due to the situation with in regards to tariffs, do whatever. Like if you urgently would want to buy into this, do what you will and such. And just unfortunately, as of now, this is like the last wave we know about, because Star Ray was supposed to have its wave released in March. Where's my phone? It's May. So, I don't know if they will bother continuing this line, especially because they're now just doing their own Blockies equivalent that has Dragon Man, Eagle Man, Ray Thunder, and Ray Furno, and the enemies within Star Ray. So I don't know if they are going to continue. I don't know if they will go back and do the Star wave, because I know Zrykin was actually going to buy into that. I was a bit disappointed personally, because I actually I can't wait for Captor. And it just kind of sucked that Captor got skipped over for Star Ray, but I think the only other adjacent thing of the series is that there is a 5-pack that comprises of the 5 like titular like armors for each series that come with shine cards. And like I did want to buy that set, but again with like how things are now, it's just I don't know. And I assume it's the same like I assume it's this exact same wave because of just how lava is done and such. Hopefully because they're like metallic painted and such. And also with that set, that's the first release that we're ever going to have of Captor and Hunter cards, and also of Carbon or Armor Hero Carbon and Armor Hero Hunter Stallion actually gain figure representations in this scale and such. So again, I hope it's literally just 2 more waves. I hope they can get back. I'm losing my voice. I apologize. I've been speaking for too long, but I hope they go back into like after the done with their Blockies series, a Blockies adjacent series, they can go back, do the Star Ray wave, then continue on with doing Captor and Hunter, because literally with those 2 series, they don't need to do much. Captor, they only need to do again like 6 figures or like 7. Yeah, 7 figures approximately. And then I think it was also teased that Lava was going to get its like monsters out too. So again, like if they're technically with XT, they need to put out the other 2. They put out him. So like I don't know, it's just kind of weird. That's why I initially did not want to buy the entire. I did not want to get the entire wave, but Draken was just like, I think you should just get it. You should just get the entire wave. And that's why I told him. Then you're having the 2 villains. But other than that, I think that's everything I kind of want to say about these figures and such. Like, actually, I should. I don't have a actually. Do I have a solo figure near me? I have a Shoto. Alright, so we got some comparisons. I should do this before we stop. So, here's a Soto comparison. We have Saber Dragonic Knight, to which you can tell it's Soto. Of course, they're going to remain tiny. And then we got Zenkaiser Black, which is basically the scale these are. These are basically Yudo scale. That's basically the size they are. They're Yudos, essentially. You can tell I haven't touched this in a while. And then we got Ninja Mandor, Shoto Super representation. They're still shorter. Yeah, they're shorter than... I think they're about the same size as Sotos. Oh, so... So yeah, that's a size comparison if anyone was interested in such. But I think that's kind of everything I wanted to go over and such. I would like to be able to revisit this line, but honestly, like I think I kind of got again. This Lava was the only series I actually wanted everyone in. Everything else is just kind of like pick and choose. Like, you know, after watching the first series, I kind of want to get one of Tiger Man, because Tiger Man is probably my favorite armor out of that series. But I think Zrykin has, if he actually does want to do it, I think he said he was going to pick up that entire wave. Unless he's only going to get Rhino Man again. But yeah. Sorry for this being long. I'll have to do this review. This is Ryder and LV people. Bye. I never filmed a normal review in 5 months.